So it is Monday, May 10th, 2021 at 5:52 a.m. And just getting up. Man, do I feel tired. I haven't been getting a whole lot of sleep lately. Late nights this weekend again. Played cards Friday and Saturday, so it's just not real conducive to trading. Staying up real late, playing cards 3 or 4 days a week till 1, going to bed at 2 or around there, and then trying to get up and trading. So I know that's not conducive, like Kelly told me, not conducive to staying real sharp and competing with the best in the world trading, but for now it's what I'm doing, and I had a great weekend playing cards, so it's nice money. So, but here I am, so gotta shake off the sleepiness and try to get a clear head here, and let's go and look and see what we're looking at. So first thing to look at is the daily. Don't see really much going on. Nothing really special or anything of note. I would say the first thing that I notice here is that on Friday we came down and tested these bar highs back here from that would be April. And now we're kind of coming back in, and we're back in previous value here and in here. So what are we're gonna either have to push lower to come down and push out of this value, or again back up into this to test these highs here from way back when. So nothing really of note on the higher time frame. You can see now back on the 15 Sunday's trade, we were pushing up above Friday's range, and now we're back in that. So trading above range, which could be good for expansion to the upside, but again we're kind of in this somewhat choppy area that we've been in for a couple of days, and you look back and either on this larger profile we're in this point of control area. So all of this here, you can see this kind of this fat part of this profile here is all value. So we are pushing up into, if we can get above these highs here and test into this thinner part of value, I would expect us to come up here, and we have this naked VPOC up here as well, with the likely to test from last Wednesday, May 5th. So that's a likely upside area to visit, call it a target also. And as far as downside targets, minimum we'd be looking to come down and test this untested point of control from Friday, and possibly down into the lower side of value, and then the Friday's low. So that's about it for now. Then kind of what my ritual is for in the morning, go through all the higher time frames and then drill down, mark off all my volumes on my number bars here to get the real detail of where the large volume is transacting. And this is what we're looking at. So first thing I notice here is that we have kind of the overnight high area of trade after midnight. This was the highest volume area. We just come up and tested that here again, and I guess you could call this an unfair price. We did have a pretty sharp rejection here on higher volume, and now we're back again in this 65.50 area, chopping around again. So we do have a nice little possible short-term setup, since we did reject this as an unfair price. If I can find some kind of trigger to come down and test all the way back down to this 30, so that could be a potential nice setup here. I just didn't have a real clear head, needed to wake up for a minute, so wasn't really ready to jump on anything quite right away the second I got to the charts. So, but that's what that's looking at, and so this is kind of testing this area now, this demand zone right here. So setting up for potential nice little short here, though, I see. And you can see again that area that I mentioned around midnight. A little bit of volume came in here, and then the unfair price and the rejection. See, this is what I love about the number bars. You can just see so well what's going on. So volume came in on this two bar reversal, put in large volume. So anywhere here, you could have taken an aggressive trade short here to have it, stop above here, or even real tight stop here. You could looking for it to hold. If you entered around this, around the 50, looking for it to hold the 50 above this volume or anywhere in here. You want to take a larger stop. 60 would be the safest for protection if it doesn't quite hold this volume, but still is going to hold these highs. And then I would be targeting down into these untested bar highs here, which is about 34, and even a little lower into the 31. Beyond that, this isn't real strong either. This is the point of control for the day so far, but all of this trade here back and forth and these lows, definitely we could be looking to take all this out. So I'm going to pause this for now. I'm kind of blabbing on for 6 minutes already, so I don't want to make this an hour-long video today, but I'm going to pause it, and then we'll wait and see what's next. Something to take note of here is Sunday's bulk of volume. The point of control is here, and then right below we have a sharp drop-off, low volume node here. So what that indicates to me is unfair prices, so least amount of trade here. So what we're doing here is looking at this flip zone here where these bar highs and bar lows come. So we have this imbalance, move up, down, tested it from below, moved up now, and now we're going to be testing, first of all, of course, we revisited the point of control, but we're going to be visiting this low volume node, in my opinion, to see if we would hold this from above and then to move higher to take out this overnight high. Something that stuck out to me, you don't usually see this sharp of a low volume node right directly next to the point of control, so that's indicating unfair prices and likely to be a place to watch and a flip zone. Or also the other side of that is that we can't hold this, and then we push through this area again and come back and test it from below, and we do still have all of this unfair, this demand zone that I talked about from before for that short-term short setup down to this 30 area, and then possibly pushing down to test these overnight lows, and then back into this. Then we're again back into not a great area of trade here, because this is really all value in here in this part of this profile, for this composite profile for all of these previous days. So everywhere from 65.78 to this low volume node down all the way down and really into here. This is all value. So also being that it's Monday, you kind of tend to get that urge when things are moving. You don't want to miss out. It's the first trade of the week too, first trade of the day. You want to start off on a good foot, start off on the right foot, and I find myself wanting to jump into something. So I'm saying, okay, well, I don't want to miss this. Seems like this is about the fourth test of these highs here, but I don't want to be the one buying these highs here. And after this breakup, I'm like, oh man, I should get long, should take this, and then immediately I'm stuck on the wrong side. High take these highs, and then I'm in at 56, 57, 58 long, hoping for the break of the overnight high, and now here we are taking heat. So much better trade would be the long trade right here, where this volume comes in, this low tick, little bit of this mini failure here, and then being in from 45 all the way up, and then you're sitting in a nice position. Yeah, maybe it comes back down, but you have the protection of this high volume here on the other side of this low volume node. But the issue with the long trade here is that you don't have a whole lot of structure here. I mean, you have this small demand zone, but then you have all of this space to come back to and fill this in. So a little bit of a a little bit more risky on the long side there. So I'm really starting to pay attention here. This is a important area. What we're looking at now is we can see this profile here. We're now sitting below this volume. Large volume came in here. We can see on this last 1 minute bar. So what's going to happen here? I don't see this as a very strong high here, but it's about the fourth test into this area higher here and volume coming in here. I mean, it really could go either way still, in my opinion. Putting in large volume here, which means there's definitely buyers in this area, but we can easily break down on this area. So sitting below this volume here, putting in volume here, weaker highs here. So I'm just going to kind of watch. If we get a nice imbalance higher, I might try to take a long here. If not, I want to watch how price reacts here, pushes lower, then we might have a short opportunity here as well. These are kind of short term. I call them more like scalp trades, but I'm gonna watch. So I'm in my first trade. Just took a long, a little bit risky. Not a very good imbalance. Push higher off this volume, but we're gonna see if it can hold. It's kind of risky. Like I said, not a very strong rejection or push higher. So I would say this is a little aggressive. Stop going to be below the volume here at about 39. So we'll see if I can get a nice little push higher, and I'll be looking to manage risk pretty tightly. Right now it's pushing back down into this volume and not looking great so far. So could be wrong. Looking in, we may just go down and rip lower and fill in this space. So we'll see what happens. So this is kind of the push I was anticipating. So I entered a little early ahead of this push. So if I wasn't in yet, I'd be looking for an entry here now. I'm not saying that this is great, but it's looking better now with this small little push higher here. I'll be looking to manage risk now. If you can get above these bar highs here, and we're right at that area where we're pushing above this point of control now. So now I'd really like to see this thing go. It doesn't always work out that way, obviously, but I'm feeling a little bit better about the long side trade now. And but now here we are pushing back down around my entry. So we'll see what happens. And I'm out for a 6 tick loss. So that's not good at all. So we had this little push above these bar highs, which would have been a potential de-risk point, but being that that was right at my entry, it didn't really give me any room for that to work out. So not looking good for the long side trade here in the short term. So that's, now we're back to watching and seeing how we're gonna handle these areas. And this is this area that I was talking about. So now that we're pushing down below this, the likely that we either reject these bar lows again, move higher, or fill in this space, which at this point I think that's definitely potential. But this could be a little bit of a shakeout for the long side trade as well, to push down below, grab this liquidity, increase in volume here. So the short side trade has played out exactly like I had talked about, and this was the problem with the long as well. When we didn't hold this range here, we broke down, and then you can see that we held the volume from below, came back down to fill in this space here, and back down to this demand zone. So that's exactly what happened. So probably a little bit of an aggressive trade. Unfortunate to start the day that way, but being stuck between these two levels was kind of precarious for the long trade, and I took a loss. So now we are getting close to the open, and we're going to see what happens. Volume coming in here where you would expect it from this demand zone here. So don't have a lot to do here until I see something else change. So I tried another long here. After coming down and putting in this volume here, this spike up, I took a fairly aggressive try after this volume and this push, and then we broke above here, and it was looking really good to go back higher, and then we got this pushback down, and I got taken out. I reduced and took a 5 tick loss, so now we're sitting at 2 losses, like minus 11, so not a real good start, but now we really don't know. I mean, the week low here to test the overnight low is possible. The week high up here, take out the overnight high, but again, we're just kind of chopping around in this value area so far, and pretty weak movement on the open, so not real good. So that doesn't really bode well for me trying to take any more trades right now. So going to try to be patient and wait it out and see if we can get a direction. My issue tends to be kind of not wanting to, that FOMO, fear of missing out, and then the move happens, and then I just watch it start to trend. And I have a hard time sometimes trading trends. Sometimes highly volatile balanced days seem to be better for me because I like to fade highs and lows. So here we are, but it looks like we're going to see some movement down for now. So I finally grabbed a long here for this, putting the largest volume of the day here. This push down, and then I entered aggressively kind of off of some volume in here, and now we've pushed up, so now I've de-risked, looking for us to push back up into this range above here and into this high tick here at the 86. I mean, that's a far target, but we'll see how it manages it when we test this high tick here at the 65. I'd like to see that area flush and then push back up into this range here. Don't know if it's going to happen. I de-risked aggressively because we still have some targets below, but we can see here on the 15-minute here that we were coming into this untested bar low here, and then that's when the biggest volume of the day came in. So that's what I was kind of leaning on, that idea. It's somewhat counter context, and looks like I'm probably going to get taken out here anyway if these bar highs don't hold here, which I'm hoping that they will. If not, but we'll see how it goes and see what I can take out of it. And those bar highs did not hold, and I was just taken out break even. Again, what I didn't like about this long trade as well is that, yes, this is the largest volume of the day, but we put in this kind of this weak low here, won the test back down. So I wouldn't be surprised also that we don't come down and at least test this volume here again. And we very well could come down and test into this area here, this previous day's top of value and this zone, this range here. So can't get much going today, unfortunately. I missed the short when I was trying to get on those long trades, and it was just a tough trade here. I mean, these highs look so weak in this range here, but then we had this huge amount of compression or absorption or whatever, and there was some clues here for the short side trade for sure. And what that was is this very large volume that came in here when we pushed above these highs. High volume here, very high volume here, volume here, and then we came up and tested. So anywhere in here would have been, I was looking at the shorts here, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. And it would have held, keeping a stop above these bar highs here, and then it just came down and the bottom dropped out. So would have been a great trade. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but didn't get on that. So not a great morning for me so far, but just trying to keep my head level and see and trade and watch for any opportunities that I see. So this is going to be a key area here, hoping that some kind of large volume will come in if we come down and test this range, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, I'm trying this long idea again. It seems like after putting in this low on lower volume, we have weak tops above. My target is this high tick here at 86. Long target, I don't know if we're going to get there. We are also forming kind of this value area here. So I like the long side trade. Again, it's slightly counter context, but we did put the largest volume into the day, and then this weak push below. So we'll see how it goes. I have trouble below, so I'm looking for this to hold here, and for all of these tops to go. How do I manage my stop here is something I'm thinking through the whole time. I don't really want to be down here at the 40. It's just too wide of a stop, 13 ticks. I know my average win versus my average loss. I can't take that large of a stop, so I'm going to try to keep it to the bottom side of this volume here. I want this volume to hold, because if we push down below that and it doesn't hold, the trade's probably in trouble anyway. So this is kind of the moment of truth. We're putting in this volume here, so if we don't pop up above this, I don't really want to be in this trade anyway. So it's kind of so-so at this point. I want to see this flush above here. If we get a pop here, I'll be feeling good and sitting above this volume here. And I'm out. Another 5-tick loss. This is pushing down on the wrong side of volume. So like I was saying, I don't want to be here when this moves down below this 49, 48 area. So that's exactly what happened. So no reason to take a bigger stop here down at 40. I wouldn't want to be down here anyway, so now this trade is no longer valid. So after that imbalance push down that took me out of my long trade, I go out on the short here, and we have nice compression coming in here. You can see here on this volume here, so I'm going to lean on that. My stop's going to be above this 50 level now. I got it managing it around 53. Expectation is to come down and take out this weak low, push down into these untested lows here. So 64, probably right around the round number. I'm not going to take it off. Not going to try for 50. If I can get 20 anywhere in there, or you know, the low a day would be great at 28. So that's 20 right there. So we'll see if this volume holds, and we can push lower. Volume, a lot of volume coming in here now. So again, I don't want to see if we get above this volume here. I wouldn't want to be in the short trade. So, and it seems I'm kind of bouncing back and forth, and I am feeling a little inconsistent, but trying to get on the right side of something. And after such a large imbalance move down as well, you got to ask how much more does this have to go? But I think it has enough to get me a nice win on the day. So we'll see how it goes. Pushing down in the 40, so I'm feeling better about that. If we flush down below this, I think all of this is likely to go. 28 is the low of day, so that'll get me 20, so I'll be watching that close. But I would like really to see a big flush down below. So if it goes down and rejects this 28 and we get a sharp rejection of price, I mean, I'll be watching it real close to lock in something on the trade. I want to watch and see how this low a day is treated though. So now I'm feeling good, so I'm going to take my risk off, because anywhere back up into this, if we don't hold these bar lows here, this trouble area from below, you know, the trade's not likely to work out anyway, so no reason to take on any additional risk. So here we go. This is kind of where we want to test this low here, and it's looking really good. The dome's getting real heavy and jumping around, so I like the trade so far. Let's go back on this 5 minute and see. This is my flush of the 64.04 would be great. This is where I'm watching this trade now. So when I see that 04, maybe, I mean, I plan on taking it off in front of that number, but here we go. So now I'm going to be starting to manage this real close, because I definitely obviously don't want to give up a 20 tick winner, but I want to see how this happens. We'll switch back to the number bars, see where the volume's coming in. We see we have some real heavy volume here at the 25, so I'll probably lock in 20 here. May get taken out, but that's all right. And let's see what happens here at this volume. Looks like I'm probably going to get taken out here if we don't flush down hard here, but it's got to hold this volume. Well, it doesn't have to, but you know, these bar lows here are likely to be retested again. So if it comes back to that, I wouldn't be surprised, and even all this volume here all this space here could be filled in. There's the 16, the 15, the 13, so I'll probably lock in 30 here. Likely to get taken out before the flush, but we will see what happens. Oh, just hit my price at 06. and I got taken out. So very nice trade there. Finally, what a frustrating morning for me, honestly. So that's nice to grab that thing. Where did we come to? 64.05. I mean, it's amazing how these these levels get respected just time after time after time. So this bar low here, this demand area here at 64.05, that's what I was targeting, and you can see price just came to it exactly. And yeah, we'll probably still maybe even go down and test these bar lows at the 63.90, but when I have a great price from above and I'm working on 20, then 30, 40 tick win, I mean, that's great. I'll take that all day long. And now here we're pushing the 64 round number, and things are still looking pretty good for a test lower. But this large volume here, you can see this is where that demand area was. So we definitely got a reaction there. Barely got a reaction at all where I took my trade off. So yeah, I could have given it a little bit more room to work lower, but again, when I'm already taking 30, this space could easily be ripped out, and this can happen so quickly. So I'll take that. That's really nice win for me. Hello, long trade entered at 39 here, or what was it? No, at 50. After this push down here, I'm watching this value area with these weak highs to the left, looking to, I talked about this trade earlier, to come back up and test into this 86. So nice, probably another 30-40 tick trade. But what happened is after we tested down into this lower side and this volume here, we had an imbalance move up, entered here at the 50. Or I had an order. I'll mark it anyway. I'll put the order in. I already canceled it because I missed it. But we pushed back. We came back to this 54 area was the lowest. So that's always the risk, is that you don't get the pullbacks. But the reason that I'm okay with that is because if I didn't get this pullback, my stop was already. It was already a 10 tick, actually 11 tick stop to be down below these bar lows. So I'm okay with missing this trade, because if I entered here somewhere in this, inner bar here, the stop is just way too big, 15, 16, 17 ticks, and that's way, way more than I'm willing to take on. And if I enter somewhere around 57, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we came back and tested this area and even back down into this volume. So it's just too much heat for me to take. And then also with this move up, if we happen to, there's a lot of trouble down here, a lot of areas that we can come down and revisit, at least the lower side of the value here even. So a little, unfortunate. The trade with the idea was right. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to execute because I didn't get the pullback. But you can see already we finally pushed above these and broke these weak highs, which was the expectation. Here's an untested bar high here, so you have a little bit of trouble here. We didn't quite get there yet. I'm guessing that we will. Why is my target up here at 86? Because of this high tick here. So this is the failure of price here. And that's what I would be watching. But, at that point with 86 from 50, that would be 36 ticks. So I'd be more than happy, or even to take it off in front of these untested bar highs here at 84. So 83, 82, anything in that area is fine. There's not much else. Or, even more conservative would be these untested bar lows here at 77. So that would still give me a 20 plus tick trade, that would probably be the best idea, actually. After a flush of these weak highs, to come back up into this trouble here at, so maybe 75, and still take that off for 25, because now this is what is likely to happen when we come up into this trouble, is we're likely to come back down and test this resistance now turn support, and we're not even holding that now. So all of a sudden my nice 25 tick win has turned into at risk of coming back down here, because I wouldn't be surprised also if that came back down there to test my my entry. I better cancel this order because I definitely don't want this getting filled now after coming back down and not holding any of this as support. So this long trade is playing out pretty nicely still. After this imbalance push up and not getting the pullback, we broke up to these this little trouble area that I was talking about before. Could possibly still take this trade back into here, but here's the issue with this is that you can see we came back exactly to where I was talking about, where my entry, what I was looking, not being surprised at all to see a pullback to this 50 area. But if we still did enter at the 50, now a push back up into this trouble would be something to worry about. But as long as I am aware that this is likely, or even, a reaction being this is trouble as well from below. So we could definitely, if I'm at 50, we could definitely respect this 56 and then move lower. So that's a problem for this trade. And then definitely here, there's trouble again here at 64. So if you want to de-risk, if I de-risk into the 56, that's way too close. Because then what are you at, 50 and then 51, if you go +1 and 56, and then you could probably get taken out in this chop here. And then, it works out and we get this really nice imbalance push here. And now this very large absorption area here is holding now from above after we've pushed above, and I fully expect to see at least a test of these 86s. This was a nice target. Another target would be to see this high flush, and then see what happens if we move into this this low volume area, which is just nothing more than an unfair price of where price moved very quickly down on this imbalance move, and then the push back up. It was barely traded any there, so that would be a good target in front of that low volume area as well. And here we are at the 86. So normally I'd be kind of frustrated when I miss out on trades like this, but I'm happy because I am reading the market well, and my context my context read is right on. So from here, what I would expect is likely to the upper side of this range to hold now and to go up into that low volume area and these bar highs. This is still somewhat of a untested supply area, but if I wanted to hold into that, but likely, at the 50, obviously into 86, that's a big win, so I would probably take that off 20 or 30 at least. There was another opportunity here, smaller idea for a setup here, which was this flush down here, which I would say in the past, this is even a chance that I might have tried to jump on this short, thinking that we were failing back down into this area, but it's definitely not a trade for me now. And the reason for that is because look at all of this this is accepted price here. So this is a very weak high likely to go. So this is probably just a false breakout to the downside to pull in even more shorts before the pop higher. And that's exactly what it did. So pushed it down into the zone and came back up, and leaning on this around 70-71 price into this above this volume here of where the breakdown was, this would have been a valid entry. So 70 up into that 86 number is still, it's still a decent win, or even be break even now with an expectation that these highs now hold and going up to push into the flush that untested high there into this area, or that low volume node at 94, 95. So that'd be a 20-25 tick win as well. So I think I'm going to call it a day. It's 10 o'clock here, so as you can see, the volume has really started to slow down anyway. So I'm just going to be sitting here, and I'm super tired. I didn't sleep that well, and so it's probably better that I call it a day, and had a decent day, ending plus 27 even with my 3 small losses. So 3 losses, 1 break even, and a 42 tick win. So it's a good Monday, good way to start the week, and we'll get back at it tomorrow.